Hello, hello. How's it going? I am all on my own for audio and everything today. So I see we got 3 viewers already. If you guys can give me a thumbs up if the volume's there, you can hear me. Everything's working well. Be fantastic news. And while I'm waiting for you guys to do that, we got a lot of stuff going on in the shop. As you can tell, we got quite a few things torn apart here. Really cool telly here. This was a very old one that Austin was able to pick up. One of the originals that we were making for our entry level stuff. Austin was able to pick this up, and he's putting all new electronics in there. New pickups and all sorts of stuff there too. So that's super exciting. Very excited to hear that guitar when it's done. Grover tuners, things like that. So he's beefing this up. This will be his gig ready guitar when he's gigging with Bandits. So that should be a lot of fun. But you can see there's a lot of different weird stuff in the background. Things that aren't normally there even. So all good things. So what I'm working on right now is trying to find a way to do a really cool mobile cam, so I can walk around the store with you guys before the stream starts, kind of show you what's new, what's different. We have a bunch of stuff in. Hey Barry, what's going on, man? We got a bunch of new stuff in, a bunch of new straps, a bunch of new drumsticks. Meinl is also bringing in a bunch of new percussion stuff, cowbells, triangles, all sorts of things. I appreciate the like, man. And they have their sticks as well. Hey Russ. So they're bringing in a bunch of stuff. Yeah, so my phone's good, but there's a few things that go on. Like, I want to be able to do it as part of this stream, and this stream I'm doing through my desktop and several cameras placed around. You can connect your phone wirelessly and stuff, but it's got quite a bit of delay on it, and it's not that great. So what I'd love to do is actually get like just a real camera. So any donations that are placed today will go towards that. I'd love to be able to do like virtual walkthroughs of the store, especially when there's new stuff in, because a lot of times we get new stuff and it's like it's not new to me anymore, but somebody who hasn't been in here for a few months is like, oh wow, did you just get this? And it's like, no, I've had that for a few months already. And it's just like, oh man, that's new to me, and they would be all over it and love it. So that'd be really, really cool. Those cameras are pretty pricey, but I think it would add a lot of value. It also lets us be more mobile, so if we want to be in the studio for a while on a stream or something like that, we can use it then. So I think that would be really, really cool. Yeah. So, as the title says, we are going to work on this SG again. Stream a jam session, show you. Yeah, so, it's funny you mentioned that. That is something that I want to do. We have a huge mixing board, and it's all multi-track. So each track is individual. So we actually could legitimately stream an entire jam session. And you would only pick up the audio going into the board. You would not pick up any of the audio in the room, which would be fantastic and like crystal clear and stuff like that. So that's something I really do want to do. It's something that I want to do a couple times myself, and then let other musicians, local musicians, do that as well. It'd be a lot of fun. We would have to worry about like copyright infringements and things like that with YouTube. But if they're originals, it won't matter. Also, YouTube is pretty lenient on other things too. We just got to make sure that we're not making money off of that video. So, yeah, it's something that we really, really want to try. It's definitely going to happen down the road. There's just so many things going on right now. It's more than just a plug and play kind of thing. So, a lot of tests. A lot of test jam for a minute, stop, go back, check that video. Test jam for another minute, stop, go back, check that new video. You know, listening to the sound quality and stuff like that, because it can sound great through the board right into the cans that are in the room, but then it's going to get scrunched down and uploaded and all that fun stuff. So thanks again for the likes. For those of you that did give me a like, shares are huge. If you can do any shares, YouTube likes go a long way. YouTube subscriptions go a long way. Honestly, that's like the only way the stream will ever really make money is through YouTube, which I understand, but Facebook is just such a great, easy tool for everybody and free, and most people are on it anyway. So, hence going Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So, but yeah, if you guys can share and stuff like that, below in the description, I'll give you a tour off the phone soon. It's not a huge studio. It's a smaller studio, but the equipment we have is really great, and the techniques that we use are really fantastic. We have a portable vocal booth. We use, I think the only time I've ever recorded drums, what's the best way to phrase this? The least amount of microphones I've ever used on a drum set is 9. So, and that's on the kit itself. So we have some really great recordings that come out of there. Very excited about that studio. It's very cheap right now too. We're only charging $45 an hour for recording right now, which is just like, I don't know, like bedroom studio recording time. So I can't connect it with the phone right now. I'm on the desktop computer that's in the shop. So, but next stream, we'll try to set that up where we can do that, or I'll just go live randomly sometime this weekend if I remember correctly. I did get my COVID shot this afternoon, and it was my second one, and I've heard rumors that I might die because of it. So, who knows? Hopefully I'll be awake and mobile tomorrow. So, yeah. With that being said, there are some links right below the video here. Thanks, man. The links below the video are, one is for donations. Donations are great. They go a huge, huge, huge long way. Any donations that happen go all to stream accessories. So if you donate money, I'm not going out and buying guitars to sell to people. When you donate money, I'm upgrading the stream stuff. So it's all just for the stream. So we've already put a lot of money into microphones and cameras and stuff like that. A mobile camera is our next step. A better camera. So like the face cam's pretty high quality. You'll see the guitar cam is okay quality. Thanks, man. We try as much as we can to be awesome. So the guitar cam, that when we get to that, is okay quality. I would love a really nice 4K with autofocus on that. That's the big issue there. I have a really good 1080 camera, but it doesn't autofocus. This is technically 1080, but it's not that great. You'll notice that. So that's another upgrade we're going for too. So, I mean, 2 big camera upgrades, that would be huge. Lighting, as you can see, we have these like incredibly bright lights above me because it's a shop, so why wouldn't you? But then I get this awesome shadow, and we just lose the professionalism that all the like real streams get. Real stream, is that okay? So yeah. Also down there is merch, and merch is cool because I make a tiny bit of money off the merch. You'll see that I priced it as low as I could go. I priced it really competitively. So if you go and you click on merch stuff, hats are not overly priced, and it's pretty great. They're made to order also. So keep that in mind when you order it. Give it a little bit of time for them to make it, but they're really great. I mean, I'm wearing this hat. I wear this hat like every day. I've washed it a couple times, but it's actually like embroidered. It's not a sticky, I don't know. It's high quality stuff. So the shirts aren't embroidered. We don't have any embroidered shirts yet just because they were kind of overpriced, but the hats are really great. Coffee mug is huge. If you get the coffee mug, it's fantastic. I know a couple of you out there have already gotten those coffee mugs. We got face coverings. We got masks, which I'm usually wearing one. There's nobody here, so I don't have it anywhere near me. And things like that. So, Jimmy, I don't know if you're talking producer for the stream or producer for the studio or whatever, but I mean, you want to chat, I mean, I'm always open to chat. I'm always about networking and meeting people and doing things like that. So again, yeah, we'll get into the the gist of it. I am on my own tonight. I think I did mention that. So if sound quality gets weird or you hear stuff that you shouldn't be hearing, let me know. I'll try to correct it. The desktop's across the room. I do, if you see I'm looking up a lot, I do have a second monitor placed right up here, just above the camera, so that I can keep track of the chat, keep track of myself, and see things going on. So, to the mobile cam. So, sorry, guitar scene, that's what I meant. Sorry, I started setting up a mobile cam scene. That's why I said mobile cam. But, guitar, here it is. So, last week we pulled all the frets and we were sanding like crazy on this thing. And I mean, we were sanding like crazy. I continued sanding for about 10 more minutes after the stream ended. So, if you stuck with me through the whole stream last week, that's where I had left off. So I sanded another 10 minutes, and then I started to fill in all those big, huge divots that were in this fretboard. And if you remember, there were a lot. But we now have a fretboard that's actually quite smooth. We're going to have some discoloration stuff. You can see the globs where it looks like globs. It's not. It's actually smooth. But you can see where those frets were. That wood was just dug in, okay? Dug in bad. And you can see where we had to put more fill. So there's filling on a lot of this stuff. Again, that camera upgrade would go a long way here. But you can definitely see it over here, especially on that first fret. You could see that second fret was really, really bad. We'll zoom in real good. You can see where that third fret even had issues. The fourth, the fifth, the sixth, that all has filling on all of that. So what I did was I took the dust that I was getting from sanding this thing and replaning it. And, pardon me, I'm just gonna move this mic the camera just a little bit. I collected the dust that I got from this, and I filled these gaps with dust and CA, otherwise super glue, fancy super glue, CA, which obviously left it bubbled up. And then I sanded it all back down again, and then I did the same thing again because there were spots that I missed, there were spots that didn't fill that great, and then I kept rinsing and repeating. This fretboard was atrocious, and I honestly didn't think that it was ever going to turn out. It was more of an experiment, but this thing is just unbelievably smooth now, and it's straight too. That was another thing we had a big issue with, is even with the truss rod completely loosened up, we had a big bow here, which we were able to sand out. So I tightened up the truss rod a bit, made the bow a little worse, but I didn't want to sand it straight with the truss rod loose, just for, thanks for the share, man, just for there to be no way to loosen the truss rod ever. So we tightened the truss rod up a bit, then planed it out, and we got it great. It's got a 12-inch radius on it now. A lot of the glue ended up filling in, as you can imagine, the fret slots that were already there. So then what I did next is I took my saw here, and you see I have tape on it. The tape is just a guide for how deep I go, and I went through and I recut any of the slots that needed to be cut, and then also cleaned up the other slots that were in there. When I do that, I cut all the way through the whole fretboard. So all the way through the whole thing down to that tape, and I want it clean on both sides, and I want a line for if the tang was on the fret to be able to stick out the end of the fretboard. We're not going to do that. I'm going to show you what I do instead. Some people are going to love it. Some people are going to hate what I do. But I've had very, very good results with what I have. What I've also done is we had the nut here was actually popped off fairly easy. That was really unexpected. I went ahead and just filed that down and flat and clean, so there's a nice level flat surface for this. So a few tools that I have to use for frets. I'll just jump back over to this camera real quick. For this particular guitar, what I used is a wide medium number 149 fret wire. I buy them by the pound from StewMac. I've had really great success with that StewMac fret wire. I really like it. It's easy to use. Their tools are fantastic. Is it overpriced? Yeah, probably. I don't know. It's much better than buying the cheap stuff from other websites that I'm not going to mention. Also, how do you know if it's overpriced if you're not the one buying it at cost? So, anyways, so yeah, they have great fret wire. I'm a big fan of this stuff too because this is not the full stainless. I can't remember the name of the material that they're using in these now, but there's a new material that's supposed to be really fantastic. I've used it on quite a few guitars already. I've seen no issues. I haven't seen it wearing down quicker. It apparently is a lot easier to work with though. Again, I don't remember the name of it offhand. Just jump on StewMac, check out what they have for fret wire. You have stainless fret wire, you have the normal nickel blend, and then they have a new one. And this is what I get is that new blend that they're using. As you can see, this has got a curve to it. This isn't quite the curve that it should have. And I was going to explain some of this process to people if they didn't understand. So fret wire comes out perfectly straight. We bend it like this, and we use a fret wire bender, which is a tool that's tacked onto my workbench over here. I'm not going to unscrew it to show it to you, but if you just Google fret wire bender, they pop up. It's absurdly expensive, but it's absurdly necessary. What you need to do is you need to actually get this fret wire bent to where the radius is slightly more than the radius of your fretboard. So our fretboard radius is at 12 inches right now. So we put this bend a little more than 12. That way, when we seat it on the neck, we already have that natural curve there, and we're going to actually hammer in all of our frets. So we do a little more than the natural 12-inch curve, so that when we hammer it out, it hammers down straight into that 12-inch curve that we want. So with that being said, I'm going to show you a few parts of the fret itself. Right here is the top view of the fret. All right, nice and shiny. Our side view here is going to be kind of tough to see, but you see those little teeth there all along this whole area. That's a really thin, skinny piece underneath the fret. That's what holds the fret into the fretboard, and that's called the tang. Trying to get a good way to... That's pretty close to kind of seeing how that works. So that tang right there. So once you get your curve, right, you go through and you start. What I do is I put down a piece of tape. You can see the edge of my tape here. Sticky side up. And I'll place my first fret here. I'll measure it with my finger. I take a set of actual fret cutters, and then I cut that off, okay? So we'll pretend that's cut off. I grabbed a couple extra pieces that were just left over from the ends, because they come in little 2-foot sections, if you didn't notice. They don't come in one big, long, huge thing. It's a 2-foot section. These were left over from each end. So I cut what essentially would be like a fret on the guitar, right? So if we hammered this in just like this, it would go in just fine. So the problem with this is that we have this tang here, and that tang is what causes a lot of sharpness and what people call fret sprouts. Fret sprout obviously aren't the frets moving out of the guitar. It seems like the frets are starting to stick out of the guitar, but what's happening is your fretboard and your wood is actually shrinking. The metal doesn't shrink with it, so it looks like the frets are starting to poke out. Those tangs are very sharp when they do that. So what I do is I cut the tangs off partially on the end. And I do that with another fancy expensive tool called a Tang Nipper. So this tool's pretty great. I just throw it in here. I can set up the distance that I want. I'm gonna pull this. This might be loud, sorry. And it cuts off part of the tang. So now you can see that tang is missing. Now when I hammer it in there, that edge doesn't have the tang on it. So it won't stick out the end of the guitar if it gets dry. It leaves a lot easier finish work to be done, and we can move along much quicker with all of our fretwork then. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Hey, thank you so much for the donation. I really, really appreciate it. So hopefully we can keep that going. Get that as our start to our rally, and it starts snowballing. So what I did is, you see the tape down, you see frets here. I pre-cut all of that, and I pre-nipped all the tangs because I figured that would be so incredibly boring for you to sit here and watch me do that. We cleaned up all the slots in here. Everything's pretty much ready to go. So I know a lot of that wasn't on the stream. It's not super exciting work, and there's not much to talk about besides, you know, what we just went over in like 7 minutes, and it's like an hour or so of work. So I would have been standing there for the last 53 minutes looking at the screen waiting for people to give me some questions and stuff. Thank you so much for the like, Tim. Appreciate it. So I think this is Tim's first time in here, so welcome. So anywho, I'm going to start hammering some frets in. I'm going to show you the technique that I use. I'm going to explain why I use certain techniques. I don't usually use glue on frets when I'm putting them in the slots, but I'm going to on a couple because we just have some fret slots that were just so broken up from what was essentially like rotting fretboard, that the slot is just massive, and we need something else in there to hold that on there for me to feel comfortable. So also, I don't know if there's any SG lovers out there that might be interested in buying this when I'm done with it. Let me know too. So on the last stream, I kind of told you guys I'm into this about a handgun. When I say about, I mean actually quite literally. I traded this guitar for a handgun. It was in terrible shape. It still is, but this fretboard was like my worst concern. All this other stuff we can fix. I'm not worried about fixing any of that other stuff. This fretboard and this neck was my biggest concern, and the fact that we have this crazy smooth fretboard, like I can't stop running my hand over it, means that we're gonna have a fantastic playing guitar. So, all right. I'm gonna hammer a little bit. I think it's going to be too loud. So, I'm going to hammer this first fret in. If it's too loud, you guys let me know, and I can mute that microphone. Yeah, that's pretty easy to do from my mobile station here. So, a couple things that I'm looking for right here when I'm lining this fret up. I know it's kind of tough to see, but we talked about that tang. I'm going to put the tang, and I'm going to center the tang in there perfectly, and then I'm going to lay that down, and I'm going to tap it in. But this first fret is that one, probably the only one, maybe a second one, that I am going to use a little bit of glue on. So I'm going to go get a little bit of glue for that real quick. There's just so much space in that fretboard slot, and that wasn't me cutting it any bigger. My blade is not that thick, it's just, it was that big, unfortunately. So, this, And a toothpick. Yeah, we got some scrap somewhere. Of course, there's no scrap wood laying around. Not close to me. All right. We'll just do this. So while I'm doing this, does anybody else have any projects going on? I know there was one guy on the stream last week. He had a few projects going on. He had a lot of questions and asked quite a few. More than happy to answer them. That's what I'm here for. It's really a passion of mine. The stream is really just a cool way to hang out with you guys while I work more. So all I'm doing is just using a toothpick and just getting a little glue in the fat part of that seam that I'm concerned about. I'll probably put too much in there now, but oh well. It'll seep out and we'll grab it then. You like SGs, huh? Should add up the amount of work we're doing to it too. That's honestly where all the cost is going to be for this guitar is going to be in that. So you guys let me know if this ends up being too loud. You guys let me know. Was that awful? I know there's a delay, so we gotta wait a couple seconds, but while we're waiting, that sat pretty well. Can't complain, although I expected it to sit really well with the fact that we had a big, huge gap. Another fret job and neck refinish on the red Epi Les Paul. Oh, I know what one you're talking about there, Russ. So, yeah, a little not bad at all. Okay. We'll have to do the best of both worlds. So, what I am going to do then is I'm just going to mute you guys. Sorry, I don't normally tape over the top of my frets. That was just because I laid them out so early. I'll mute you guys when I hammer in. When I know I'm going to end up hammering kind of loud. Like right now. So that was the fight. Sorry, I probably have my head in front of the camera here, and we'll try to refocus it here. There we go. I might have leaned over too far. That was the fight I was expecting with this board. So the reason why that's taking so much more effort than normal is because we have super glue filling a lot of the edges and stuff because of all the rotted fretboard that was here. So that super glue is going to be much tougher than wood to get through, but we'll fight it. So. Where is my drink? It is, it's right here. I don't know if you were on earlier. I think you were. I had my COVID shot, so I'm kind of trying to pound water in hopes that I don't feel terrible. Thank you so much for the follow. Really, really appreciate it. For those of you on Facebook that don't know, I'm also on YouTube. If you want to go there and give it a like or a subscribe, that goes a long way as well. There are links below the video for any donations that you're willing to give or any merchandise from the stream too. So it's Ultraverse Music merch. What was I saying? Yeah, so I'm drinking water, hoping that I feel well tomorrow, because I have 4 lessons tomorrow alone, plus running the store and such. We do have Austin around to help, which is super helpful, but anybody out there drinking, I'm sure somebody's got a drink in their hand somewhere. The bourbon stream sponsors, huh? I'm still working on that bottle of bourbon you gave me for Christmas, my friend. I actually had some of that last night. Tell you the truth, but the first shot was pretty good. I had the Pfizer. I don't know what world we live in. Guitar stream, we're talking about COVID shots. I had the Pfizer. I was like just crazy sore. It felt like I had like Charlie horses and stuff. The best way to describe it is like if you've ever had like a pair. I'm talking to no one. We'll go ahead and just switch back to the face camera here while I'm talking. If you've ever worn like a pair of pants that were kind of tight and you had like your keys in your pocket, but your keys were like digging into the side of your pocket when you like stood up weird or something, or you picked your leg up and the jeans went tight around your leg. That's what it felt like was happening all the time, but I was wearing like gym shorts and I would stand up and be like, oh, and I'd reach in my pocket to grab something to pull it out and there was nothing there. It was just a COVID shot. Yeah, I mean, it was just like muscle soreness, like I just worked out a bunch. It didn't help that I was also moving that weekend and stuff, and then of course, the second shots on a weekend that I was kind of hoping to get a lot done, but who knows? Maybe I'll be just fine. Maybe it won't be a big deal at all. Not sure. I always love working on SGs and Kramers and stuff like that. What's the blue guitar back there? That is a Telly that Austin picked up. That's an old Traverse guitar from the original models we were doing. One of our first streams, if not our first stream, had a white version of it. That one belongs to Russ that we did some hot rods on. Austin found that one for sale. It still had all the cheap stuff on it. Had all the Chinese stuff on it. Then again, I was selling it new for $250. So it has all that stuff. So he ended up picking it up from a music store used where he found it, and then brought it back here, and he's putting custom pickups in it and just getting it to the standards that we would like it to be at when we sell things now. And it's actually going to be his gigging guitar now. So he's putting custom Traverse pickups in there. We got Grover tuners on it. Should be a killer piece. I know he's having fun modding it right now. So this might be a good question for you guys. I've been thinking about it for a while. So if you don't know how Traverse music started, I'm not sure. No, not super twangy ones, Russ. Um, Not sure who all stepped in where. I know we got people that have been here for a long time. We got people that have showed up for the first time tonight, stuff like that. Wow, that lighting is just terrible. Let's go to the guitar cam here. So, this right here, we got fake wear, things like that. These guitars I was making with pre-made bodies and pre-made necks. And what I do is I would just get a lot of the work done on the necks, get them set up really, really well, make them extremely playable. I would always hold on to the guitar for a while too to make sure that the neck doesn't warp or anything like that too. But I was able to find a company that had solid necks that rarely ever twisted on me. I mean, it's a good, solid, decently heavy body. And in order to make it affordable, we put what you would get in any other entry-level guitar into it. And then sold it for $250. The difference was you had the fretwork done already. You had it set up properly and everything like that. So it was really great. When I started this company, I was just in a bedroom in my house. And, I started by asking my wife, like, hey, can I have $400? And I want to start doing this. I think I can make a go at it. And she's like, well, if that's all you're going to spend, that's fine. So, I mean, you know how that conversation goes. And what I needed to do was figure out a way to get something customized in people's hands. And that was the direction I was going. I was buying those bodies and buying those necks, assembling these guitars and throwing them out the door for $250. Very little profit in that, but it was profit nonetheless, and I wasn't paying. The only thing I did pay, the LLC, is pretty much all I was paying at that time. I didn't have to pay for insurance and rent and all these other things. So the fact that I was only making a little bit of money off each guitar was fine, and all that would just go right back into the company. So I just kept doing that, and I sold, I don't know, about a dozen Tellys and a dozen Strats, and I kind of stopped making them because I was like, well, I don't really want my name on $250 guitars anymore. With that being said, I have a lot of people that are like, man, I wish you still made those guitars because I want to gig with it. Or, they're perfect for people that were wanting a guitar and then were willing to either themselves take the time to put like new pickups and stuff in it, or they would give it to me and just pay me to upgrade it into like a big beefy guitar, because that guitar right there, I mean, there's nothing wrong with anything on it. And the minute he upgrades those electronic features and puts something other than a plastic nut and cheap tuners on that thing, it's a super great guitar. And I mean, easily would be something that should sell for $8 to $1,000. So now we're thinking, well, maybe we should start doing that again. Except with not being in a bedroom anymore, it's something that's going to have to be like $400 for the guitar, not just the $250 we were doing. So I don't know. Maybe there's a market out there for that. Maybe not. I guess you guys let me know what you're thinking. Maybe I just talked a bunch about stuff that nobody really cared about too. If that's the case, go ahead and tell me that. I'll just lay off the cheaper guitars. But yeah, I mean, just something I was thinking about, something that's been brought up a few times now in the past couple months, and didn't know if anybody else had an opinion on it. So, and a lot of that too is like, is it not just is the market there, but like, is the market there and is it large enough? That's the biggest thing is, do we have a large enough market for doing that? That's going to justify bringing in and making a dozen more of those at a time every few months, because it's not, oh cool, I got 20 minutes, I'm going to throw together a guitar, it's several hours of work. So, um, yeah, is there that market and is it big enough? I don't know. Maybe the way to go is to do like a pre-order. Maybe I just get some people that start pre-ordering them, and then we start hammering them out. I'd have to get back in contact with that manufacturer over in China and see if they're still making those bodies and things like that. But I just know everybody that's played those has just been blown away with how cheap they were. Which makes sense because I was making something that probably should have been selling for 400 or 500, but because I was in my bedroom, at my house, I don't know, didn't have nearly the cost built into it. So, hey, thanks so much for the like. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah, Russ, I gotta get yours back to you. I know, buddy. That's next on my to-do list. Just so you know, I promise. If I am upright tomorrow, I'm gonna do it tomorrow for sure. But yeah, I mean, we have this one here. There's a couple guys in Milwaukee that came up to pick those up, and there's two of those tellies. Well, one isn't that body. One was actually a different telly that we modded, but the band Doozy, which is a local cover and original band, they have one of those tellies, and they have another one with the same pickups in it, just a different mod. But yeah, I mean, the plain Jane guitar is a perfect learning guitar. When you mod the thing, it's amazing. It's fantastic. So, yeah. So I'm trying out my new fret hammer that I got over there, because I thought, what the heck? Let's check that out, because I didn't think I had a StewMac fret hammer. And I saw that one on their site, and I said, well, let's do that. And then I grabbed my old fret hammer and realized that's a StewMac too, but it's a little heavier. This one's so much lighter. I'm going to give this a shot for a few frets and see what's going on with that. See how that feels compared to the other one. Yes, I do. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to mute myself. Yes, I do still have that silver Jazzmaster. I've had like 3 or 4 people interested in the last few days too, so... that thing just plays killer. It's fantastic. I can't wait to get all those customs in and get all the fretwork done on all those so they all play the same. But, yep, that one's still here. So, just so I don't ignore you guys for too long when I'm doing this, what I do is I kind of hold it right over the slot, and I hammer here, okay, and I feel it go in, and then I tap it across, and I keep my thumb on the end that I tapped in first, because then I can feel if that end pops up at all when I'm tapping on the far end. If that's the case, I come back over here, I tap it back in over here, and then I move across again. And that has always given me a really nice radius. It's kept a decent radius, and it's always given me good seating. So, but, well, it's starting to look like a guitar. Nutso. So, hey, for anybody that's still around, if you guys can give the stream a share on your Facebook page, or jump over to YouTube and give the subscription, or click the bell, or hit the like, that goes so far. Thanks so much. We'll get these last few frets in and we'll go to the next step here. You know, I haven't decided if I'm going to keep this one. Right now, honestly, I'm leaning it towards selling it to somebody that's watching it on stream and kind of watching it come to life. I wish I had a still shot from that from last week's stream to show the difference between this and that. Because, wow. This still has quite a ways to go. But at least we have, like, a great neck on it now. So, we'll go ahead and we'll do the close-up here. You guys can see. There we go. So we got these hanging over quite a bit, right? So that's, you know, we knew that was going to happen. I always cut them a little long. We got a little stingy on a couple, like this guy right here. That's like right there on the edge. But this tool is designed to get right up to that fretboard and to cut these. So that's what we'll do next. Get this off the cowl. Do I pre-cut them prior to the install? Yes. So they come in the 2-foot wires, and I lay out my tape. This tape here. So I laid the sticky side up, and I usually put it like right here on the guitar, and then I'll just like measure, cut, stick it, measure, cut, stick it, measure, cut, stick it, measure, cut, stick it, all the way down. Just measure, cut every single fret, and then I pull it off the fretboard and I stick it next to me. So yes, pre-cut everything, and then we also cut the tang off the ends of every single one too. So. Yeah, I like the finish on that one too, Barry. That flake, the flakes in that silver really came out way better than I ever anticipated them coming out. Oof. It's a good hand workout for a guy that's 2 months out of carpal tunnel surgery. As you can imagine, frets aren't the easiest thing to cut through, but the fact that there's no tangs on the end of all these does help immensely. There we go. Now we have a very sharp and dangerous fretboard. Very sharp and dangerous. Cool. Glad you're enjoying it, Russ. So, yeah, I'm always fearful of what's going to happen when I do stuff like this. Like, okay, I'm teaching everybody how to do this on their own. And then I realize, like, well, people that are going to want to do it on their own is going to find the information somewhere online, whether it's me or not. So why not just show people what I do, how I do it, why I do it, all those super fun things. So, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad you're learning. So we got ourselves a fretboard with frets, and you're all done. I wish. I really wish. Really, really wish. So, any of you who have ever, like, touched a guitar that was recently fretted, and not like they're very sharp. Let's just put it that way. If you slid your hand up this fretboard, you would start bleeding a lot. These are very, very sharp. There's a couple tools that I use to dull this down. I totally forgot to even grab them. And I'm facing the opposite direction, so if the microphone got quiet, that's why. But they should be here and here. Thanks, Alec. So these are the tools. Two different files that do the same thing. They just do them different ways. So, as you can tell, this file, this white one, is designed to have an angle. That angle is meant to be the angle to slide right up your guitar, and to get that angle that you see, that beveled edge on all of them. I'm going to go ahead and mute the mic and run this a few times. So, you can see how much time I spent on that. Not like that's a lot of time, it's just more time than I want to spend not even getting that done yet, which is the best part of the whole thing. Grab myself a rag here. So, there's about a 30-degree bevel on the end of frets. It's going to take a while with that. This guy is a lot heavier duty. The file has just got bigger ridges. It cuts deeper. It cuts faster. I enjoy it more. Couple reasons why. Number one, I can go straight along with the fretboard, just like this, okay? And on this particular guitar, I'm totally fine if I get some wood with that. If I get a little bit of wood on the side, that's fine. It needs to be sanded and refinished anyway. Actually, there shouldn't be finish on the side of this fretboard, but there is, because whoever did it, yeah, I don't know. The guitar used to be red, and you can see, like, there's, like, red finish and stuff over the white dots even. So, as far as scraping that up, I am totally fine doing so. Doesn't bother me at all. So for starters, if this was a brand new neck with no finish, I can go straight up and down. The benefit of that is we get all of this extra pointy stuff off much quicker. And then we can go at our angle. So I'm going to go ahead and mute this and do that a little bit. So, I used about the same amount of time on that. And this is way closer to finished product than this. Way closer. It's not yet, but we also didn't spend that much time. Yeah, Alec, a lot of people do that. If it was a maple neck, especially if it was like a lacquered neck, that would be on there for sure. Like all the time. Otherwise, I would be filing these like individually on their own. Again, the fact that I want to take some wood off the side of this fretboard allows me to just go to town on the sides of this thing either way without there being any issues with touching fretboard. So, or touching the wood on the sides. But yeah, some people do put tape on the sides. You have to use a quality tape though. The idea behind it is that once you get through the tape, the fret will poke through the tape, and then once it's level with the tape, you're going to stop wearing it out. The only issue is that then you also have that little tiny minuscule portion of tape that you couldn't sand down, and then you have to go and hit it with individual one on every single fret too. So it does get like the bulk of it done, and then you have to go back and individually sand every single one as well. So the tape is a nice thing, especially for those lacquered boards, because it just protects it. You can still run the file up and down the fretboard without a ton of concern. So I'm just going to go ahead and mute this for a little bit longer. If you guys got questions or comments or whatever, I'm just going to keep working on this a little bit more. Sorry, I realized I had to manipulate the guitar and then you couldn't see what I was doing. So I'll try to get that back on the camera. You can see how good the paint job was. That wasn't the file touching it. That was just the wood touching that. And that wore down. So that's all right. We have ideas for this. It's not going to be white. All right. So we got one side flush. We don't have to worry about the tangs, right? Because we nip the tangs there. And I know that concerns a few people when we get to the part where with the end of the frets, what I do to make sure that the fret ends don't pop out. I'll show you guys all the tricks there. There likely will be a fret or two that seems like it's popping a little. If it's your first time doing it or something like that. So don't worry about that. There are ways to fix it. There are ways around it. But yeah, this side's pretty darn close. If we wanted to go this route, I'm sure that's just an awful sound. Sorry, I'll mute. I'm not gonna lie, I can't stand this thing. It just seems like such a waste. of time, and I don't know. So how I do this, I hold the guitar outright. I'll go to face cam here. So I hold the guitar outright right here, and what I do is I cup the neck with my hand. So as I run down the neck, I keep this angle that I want. And I just run it down the neck. And it gives the desired result still. So if this sanding's too loud, let me know, guys. So what we're looking for here is that beveled fret. Nice beveled end. There's a lot more to go on with this thing. We have a ton more to go. But you get the gist of what that should look like with a beveled edge. Okay? It's about 30 degrees. Honestly, it's by feel. Every guitar feels different. Every guitar looks different. This one's a little more so in this area. The fretboard's so rolled over from being played like crazy. Doing just like a straight 30's weird. I'm going to put a little more of an angle on it. I think it will feel more natural. So, excuse me. So, just to show this beveled edge one more time, I do want to show right down here. So, I hope you guys can see this. I know it's tough. Again, all the donations are going towards new gear, new equipment, things like that. But you can see the slots on the side of the neck. Okay? So right underneath the word music, we have a slot right there, right? And we just go up the neck. There's slots there. And the tang is not in them because we cut that tang off. All right? That's a good thing. We're going to fill those slots. And we're going to fill them, and it's going to seal that fret in there. It's going to glue that fret in there, and then it's going to give us a nice, perfect, like, smooth end right there so that you never have strings getting caught under the edge of frets. I don't know a guitar player ever that's never gotten a string caught underneath one of their frets. So I'm sure you guys know what I mean when I say the string gets caught under there. It happens a lot down here, and then it also tends to happen a lot right here, I notice. So the way I seal these and finish these, again, allows us to glue the fretboard down, or glue the frets down, but not glue across the whole thing like so many people are doing nowadays, which is fine. Everybody to each their own. That method works just fine for other people. I like to do it this way because I feel like this is plenty of glue. I also don't like fighting glue when I'm pulling frets out. It's a huge pain in the butt. So yeah, I mean, this is almost safe enough to run your hand up and down. It's not yet, but almost. In all honesty, it's probably at least another 20 or 30 minutes of filing these fret ends. For those of you who have ever done that, you understand how hard these frets are. You understand how much of a pain in the butt that is. So I'm probably going to end up just doing that on my own. I'm going to do this. I may go as far as leveling, crowning, polishing the frets also. If I do something on that, what I'd like to do is do like a video that I can just post where we can edit it down, because like this video, I wasn't sure how it was going to go. And you guys can tell me, like, was it too much quiet time when I was hammering? That's the problem with doing some of this live is is that when we do it live, we have to wait, and we have to wait in between the turns. So or in between the hammers, and then I just sit there and wait, and you guys are on silent. And when I edit it, after it's just a video, you guys can watch it, and we can fast forward through all the boring stuff. So I'm working on being a better host. So hey, Morgan, welcome. We love newbies here. We love newbies. All about the newbies. Please, if you haven't yet, go ahead and like Traverse Music on Facebook. If you don't mind giving us a subscribe on YouTube as well. And if you can like the video and share it, that'd be fantastic. What are frets made out of is the question. A lot of different things. I see the most common things lately have been stainless steel, which is great. Again, it's one of those things where there's no wrong answer for fret wire. I'm going to grab my phone and pull this up because the stuff I'm using now is not stainless steel. Stainless steel seems to be like the biggest, most popular one nowadays. It's fantastic because it's very tough, and a lot of times when people end up replacing frets on guitars, it's because the frets are worn out. And I don't know if you've seen that, if you know what I'm talking about, but the string, after use over and over and over again, it's a metal string, rubbing on that metal starts to just wear it out and flatten it, and it just wears it down. And the places that you play, the places you play more often, like here, tend to wear down. So then we have lower frets here. And then up here, they're higher. So then we have to raise our action up so that we don't hit these frets when we're playing down here because of how low we're going now with these low frets. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, you can come in the store and I can show you way better things. Anyways, the stainless steel ones are said to last the longest because they are the strongest. No reason to believe that's not true. I really have no reason whatsoever to believe that's not true. They're also stainless steel, so them getting rusty and stuff like that, not an issue whatsoever. They are definitely harder to work on, with that being said. They wear out your tools a little faster. Not like that's a huge issue, especially if, if you're not a shop like I am, where I'm going to just go through a couple of those files every year or two. So wearing them down isn't a big deal for most people, but it does take longer to like level the whole fretboard because you're using just sandpaper. Hey, appreciate it, Morgan. So we use sandpaper to level these frets out, and you can imagine how long it would take just to take a piece of sandpaper and just run sandpaper along those frets and for that to actually wear off. Files work a lot faster. They have much bigger grooves. They're made of metal themselves, so they wear down that fret stuff way faster. In fact, I level with this on occasion, especially if it's a stainless steel guitar. I'll still do fret levels with this, which is like super old school and frowned upon. But it's mainly because there's so many tools nowadays that fret leveling is just done with a big, long, straight beam so that there's no room for error. I find using this still, especially on stainless steel frets, makes the job quicker, and I haven't found any issues with unlevel frets and things like that. So, let me look up this material real quick. So we talked about the stainless steel. This stuff is their new stuff, which is, come on, give me info. Give me info. Sorry. Give me a sec here. Cryo wire. That's what I'm looking for. So, stainless steel is the most common that I see nowadays. The more traditional one is a blend, and that blend is nickel, and it's nickel silver. It is 18% nickel silver. Sorry, I just want to get the exact percentage for you. So there's the stainless steel, there's the 18% nickel silver, and then there is the cryo wire. So the difference with the cryo wire and the other stuff is the cryo wire is, of course, frozen cryo, you know. It's cryo treated, so in theory, it's supposed to make the metal denser. This is nickel. This is the nickel blend. It's not the stainless steel, but it's supposed to make the metal a lot denser. It improves the strength of it, it improves the toughness, and improves wear resistance. I don't know how to measure that, you know. What I do know is when I put the cryo wire on, I can work with it fairly easy. I've had no issues with it. It's lasted a long time. Yeah, I guess they do claim that it lasts a lot longer than their regular nickel silver frets, and then you don't have as much hassle as the stainless steel. So, the cryo wire is what I've been using. I've had no issues with it. I do like working with it. It seems like it's not too tough to work with, and it's held up quite well with every guitar I've put it on. So, probably more than you ever thought you would need to know about frets. So, does anybody else have any awesome questions? I'm just going to keep talking about these frets real quick. I'm sorry about what we're going to do next. So I mentioned the video. We might just do a video on fret leveling. If the parts between this video where I had to mute and stuff were too boring, please reach out. Let me know. You can even put in the chat. I don't care. I mean, it's fine. We're beginners here. This is a new channel. We're not on the world stage yet, you know. Let me know that was too boring. It moved too slowly when we have to wait for you to finish stuff. So I can't even imagine how slow that would have been if I would have cut the fret wires in front of you and nipped all the tangs, because that's like an hour of work right there. It's, hey, today we're going to cut fret wire for an hour. Click like below, right? So yeah, things like making the nut for the guitar might go a long way, and you know, maybe we'll strip it down, maybe we'll do some other things with it. I might also wait to level and crown the frets until after I've done the paint and stuff on this. I haven't decided really what I want to do with it yet. Black seems to be calling my name. I kind of like the whites. Cool. I'm glad it's interesting. Yeah, I feel you. I'm a nerd too. And you know, I think you kind of have to be here right now. You kind of have to be a nerd, or you just have to be like just genuinely curious. Like, why do I pay that dude so much money to do this stuff? Oh, okay. I'm going to watch this stream and find out. Like, gosh, I hope people don't think it's a lot of money. I really do try to keep my prices super low. Anywho, yeah, you kind of have to be a nerd to be here. I just know hammering 22? Well, 3. Yeah, 22 frets on is 15, 17, 19, 21, 22, yeah. Wow. Hammering 22 frets on isn't super, super fun. So, I'm quite spacey if you can't tell today. So, yeah, there's a lot of directions we can go with this guitar. Also, if there's somebody interested in like actually buying this guitar, let's chat. We can make it what you want. You know, if you have a color in mind, you're like, yeah, I've always wanted like a black SG with gold hardware or something like that. You know, I'd hate to pull all the frets and put gold fret wire in there, but I mean, if you're gonna pay me to do it, I will. Gold fret wire is a thing now too, and I think they're cryo wiring that gold fret wire, which makes it last a lot longer than the old gold fret wire, which just did not last long at all. It was terrible. I'm not saying it's great, but if you really want that gold fret wire, the technology has come a long way. It will last much longer than it used to. Probably twice as long, honestly. So we still got to put tuners on this thing. We got to make a nut. That's going to be fun. There's a few other things going on. We have other guitars that we've worked on in this stream too. And what I want to actually bring up, and oh no, it got moved on me. Where did it get moved? my awesome employee, which I don't say that sarcastically, has been doing a great job cleaning stuff up and getting things taken care of for me and stuff. The first stream we did, so 5 streams ago-ish at this point, we designed a guitar. It was super fun, and I don't want anybody to think that I have forgotten about that guitar at all, because I am so excited to build it. We had almost finished the design. We were working on the upper horn, and we didn't have a headstock design yet. So I've actually finished the upper horn, and I finished the headstock, and I have that design here to show you guys, and I do want to show it to you. Make sure I can't spill anything. Close your glue when you're done working on it, Travis. All right. So, boom. All right. This was that design. This is what we came up with. This is the finished product. So, this is going to be the general shape of the guitar body. This is not part of it. Sorry if that's showing up in your stream. That's erased. It's just not erased very well. So, it's right here's our end line. Couple things to point out. Let me see if I have a pencil laying around or a marker. All right. Couple cool things. So, there are double lines on this guitar. So if you couldn't see it before, I'm sure you can see it now. With this design in mind, this is going to be a multiple piece body. And everybody's like, oh no, one piece bodies, that's what you want. Well, yes and no. There's a lot of science behind it. We're going to use multiple pieces of wood on this body for a couple of reasons. Reason number 1, I want to put a really cool top on this. So as I'm drawing these lines here, which are just not even close to like the absolutely finished product, you know, when we actually do make the template and whatnot, we're going to build the template off this. But it's far from finished. Get off. There we go. So we're going to have our jack right there. Cool. All right, we got our holes that we're going to put strings through. I kind of explained the science behind designing a guitar last time. You guys see the middle line, things like that. We have our neck pocket. Oh, that's just going to bother me. There we go. We're actually putting pick humbuckers in this thing, but at an angle. So this isn't the exact spot they're going to be in, but it's pretty darn close. Some sort of bridge here, 25.5-inch scale. Okay, bolt-on neck, obviously. We're going to have a 3-way switch. I'm not going to lie, I don't remember what we were doing with knobs either right now. I'm guessing it's tone, volume. So that's kind of the generic loose design. If you're wondering like why this is like this, so this wood is going to be what the main body's made out of. Okay, so this right here is all main body wood. This part right here is going to be a top that I'm going to put onto it. That top is roughly 3/8 of an inch thick, if not slightly more than that. That is going to be a piece of sapele, like really high figured sapele. It looks super cool. And underneath, we're going to put it's like a spalted bird's eye maple. It's kind of all the above. It's a really great piece of wood. So, the side view of this guitar, let's just pretend that's the guitar. It's going to be maple, right? And then our sapele. If you're wondering what sapele is, it's basically mahogany. So, we're running out of camera. Okay, there we go. So here's the top. Here's the body. So what we do is we take this giant chunk of maple, we plane it perfectly flat. We take this big piece of sapele here, much thinner, but big as it covers up the whole guitar. And we plane that perfectly flat. We glue these together and we clamp them. Okay? So anytime you have a guitar with a top, that's how it's made unless it's a laminate top. Laminate tops are different. They're usually vacuum sealed on because they're so incredibly thin. It's like just this crazy thin layer of glue and then it's vacuum sealed on, like those things you package meat in, essentially. It brings it down, it sucks it flat on the guitar, they squeegee it all flat, and then you have that laminate top, okay? This is going to be a big chunk of really great wood, okay? A lot of my tops I actually get from Canada. I have a guy up in Canada who gets me just some beautiful, highly figured woods. They make fantastic guitars. They make just beautiful tops out of them. So there's a lot to be said about those. This wood, as well as the neck, is going to be that maple that I'm talking about, and that maple is going to be actually I'm sorry, I don't remember where the maple's from. It was purchased locally. I don't think it's from a local tree. But bunch of high figuring, very, very beautiful. So back to here, you're going to see maple here, but you're going to see guitar here. And how we're going to do that is we're going to actually hand carve the guitar edge like this. When we hand carve this section out, you see all the sapele, so this is all gone. All this is gone. You see the sapele, and then on the edge of the guitar, you see the maple come through. But there's going to be no seam there because we're going to glue it and clamp it tight. So, yeah, I mean, the mahogany body and the maple top, that's super common. We're flipping that thing around. We're doing a maple body and a mahogany top. So, why? Because we can. So when we carve this out like this, you're going to see sapele and maple, and the only thing that's going to be in the middle there is this line, which is that joint line. It's going to be a smooth transition straight from one to the other. This is going to be carved out kind of cool. I'll show you on here. It's actually going to be kind of like this, I'm thinking, and then carved kind of straight. So we don't have a big genuine curve. We actually have a nice beveled round edge and then a beveled line there. So this whole portion, this whole portion of that guitar is going to be kind of cut in so that your electronics sit lower. Big issue with me is like hitting switches and pots when I'm strumming. I hate that. This is going to lower those. So we're going to have some low profile knobs on there, and we're going to sink it in under the sapele. So this will be, down here will be all maple, sunk underneath this awesome top. So the guitar is still going to sit high up where the strings are and everything like it normally would. So hopefully that explanation makes sense. Again, there's been a lot of thought and time put into this. Those are the woods that we're using for the body. The neck is going to be made out of this great wood right here. This came from Oshkosh, actually. This is actually a bunch of... These were a bunch of boards that were found in a river from like decades of being at the bottom of a river. And I'm sure it's not easy to see on the stream. I know it isn't. The grain on these is so incredibly tight. This is just going to be a solid, awesome, sturdy, hard piece for a neck. And this is what we're making the neck out of. We're also going to do the figure and the carve on the headstock. So there will be a layer of sapele on the headstock carved out to reveal this maple underneath it too. So we have the same theme going. It's just not going to be the same maples between the neck and the body. And real quick, if we can pan right over there, there's our headstock. So we kind of had the design here. We're trying to give it that retro type look, like we have going with the offset. All right. There's our little space for our truss rod. Here's our holes for our tuners. It's going to say Traverse Music, Traverse Guitars, whatever. So this piece will be the sapele, and then all this will be carved down in the same fashion like over here. Just carved away like that to reveal the maple neck underneath. And this will all be one big solid piece of maple, obviously. So fretboard is to be determined. I do have some really pretty slabs for fretboard right now. This one's spoken for, but like this wood is fantastic. I think that would look really cool with it, especially with the dark sapele. We have dark and light-ish in there. I think that would blend really well. I mean, it's just got a lot of cool things going for it. This one is, like I said, this one is spoken for, so, but it's a very, very cool piece, and that is going on a custom guitar as well. So, really pretty wood. Looks even better when it's oiled up, as most do. So yes, like I said, I just wanted to give a heads up that, hey, we didn't forget about this guitar. It's not forgotten. I promise. It's beloved, actually. I really, really, really love that design, that body design. I want to come up with a name for it. I want to manufacture it. It looks cool. I dig it a lot. And also, when I say manufacture, I mean like manufacture, like I'm going to build a few of them. Like that's manufacturing for me. So, yeah, I'm stoked about that guitar. I think it's going to feel great too. Those curves and stuff. I think it's just going to be an easy playing, easy feeling, cool looking guitar. And custom wound pickups in that thing. It's going to be killer. So, but it's far from an overnight thing, and we have tons and tons of projects going on, including a guitar that I'm currently building for Sean Hurwitz right now. Not to try to name drop, but he's the guitarist for Smash Mouth and Enrique Iglesias. Fantastic guitar player, even a more fantastic dude. Just a genuinely nice, humble, awesome guy, and every single chance I get to chat with that dude, I just love it. He's a super cool guy. We're working on a guitar for him. Not to give away too much. I'm just going to flash it real quick. We're working on the curves right now. It's cherry with spalted maple Eastern top on it. This is going to be a guitar for Sean Hurwitz. Very excited about that. That's a really cool building process. This one's getting so close to being done too. This is all mahogany with another spalted top on it. This guitar is a custom build too. Two-piece mahogany body, obviously you can tell. We did a beautiful binding around the sides. So nice maple binding around the sides, and then this spalted maple top. They didn't want it curvy. We wanted it straight. So we did the binding with the top, and I think it turned out pretty great. We're just finishing up more oiling on this, and then we're going to start assembling it. Yeah, that's a pretty guitar top. I just, this top I can't get over. They're so cool. So this has a couple more coats of oil to go. I think we have 6 on it. We want about 8. And that's going to be fantastic. And then we'll get this thing up and running. So, yeah, just cool things we're working on. One more guitar, actually, since I got you. Last guitar I'm going to show you for the day is another awesome flame maple top. So, you're like, wow, dude, flame maple. Everybody does flame maple. Well, do they do it shaped like an LP with telly pickups? Didn't think so. So, this guitar, gosh, I wish the lighting was better in here. It looks so much better in person than it does on the screen there. But, this is a beautiful flame top. And when I say top, this is not a laminate. You can see how thick that piece of wood is. So we're not just using a really thin, cheap piece of wood to make it look pretty. We're getting the tonal qualities here too. We're using a very thick piece of wood. And then, which people started laughing at me about this one. So this guitar was put together a year ago, and I started experimenting with this a long time ago. But actually making good sounding and playing guitars with pine. This is pine here. So this is a 4-piece pine body. 4-piece. It cuts down on cost like crazy for the end user with a beautiful flame maple top. So what this gives us is all the tonal qualities we want from the maple without the cost of a huge chunk of maple, right? So the guitar that we're making out of maple is going to be twice as expensive as this one, like the body is at least, right? So this is going to be great. This will be painted. It will have binding on it also. Don't know the paint scheme yet, but this is something that's out there. And if you laugh about the pine thing, go ahead and look at what Fender's making their American Strats out of. They're pine now. So, remember the first few people that I talked to about using pine, they're like, that's silly, why would you do that? That's terrible wood. Fender can do it. So, I know other people have done other pines. There's a lot of different pines out there. I've made quite a few pine tellies, 2 or 3 of them now. They've all turned out fantastic, but it's usually like super old aged pine. The last one I made was a blue one, if you were following me about a year ago. That was 100-year aged blue pine. A pine that we did a blue color finish lacquer with lacquer over the top, so you could actually still see like this. You can see the grain and everything. You still get the color, and then we lacquered over the top of it. It turned out really pretty. So yeah, tons of projects going on, tons of things going on. If you have questions, please shoot them my way. I love meeting people. If you're able to swing in and stop by, go for it. I don't have a mask on now, but I'll put a mask on when you walk in if you want. I mean, I'll have it on either way. When somebody walks in, I put the mask on right away, whether they ask me to or not. I mean, we're clean. We disinfect regularly. We have the studio going too. We clean that after every single use as well. You know, yeah, plywood body. Hey, look up Dan Electro Guitars, man. You can do a lot with plywood. You can do a lot with plywood. Just so many things with plywood. So, what was I saying? Yeah, so I mean, tons of stuff going on. If you could swing by the store, that'd be fantastic. Drop me a Facebook message and say hi, something, you know. Thank you so much for everybody that joined. Hello to the new people. There's some new names that I don't recognize. I know like Morgan is a new one, and thanks again for the like and the follow. That goes a long way. So if you got ideas for videos too, let me know. This guitar's going to be on hold for a little bit now. Like I said, I'll probably do more fretwork stuff off screen just because it's tedious and time consuming and there's not a lot to talk about during it. Next week, I'm going to tease a little bit. I think we're going to do some guitar pedal mods. When I say guitar pedal mods, I mean one pedal that we're going to mod. And it's a pretty iconic pedal. It is the Line 6 Dl4. I got a fully functioning Dl4 that doesn't need modifications, but we're going to mod it up anyway and sell it. So, if you know anything about this pedal, you understand how awesome it is. You understand the value of these things. Back when Line 6 was making these switches were just terrible. They're so cheap and thin. The LEDs are barely visible. What we're going to do is we're going to open this thing up, tear it apart, put brand new like hardcore switches in this thing, and some super bright, awesome LEDs. Get this thing fully functional, get this thing rocking, and get it to somebody who can treat it right and love it. If you haven't seen these pedals, again, it's called a Line 6 DL4. Very, very cool pedals, and this one will have all the mods done to it. It's actually in fantastic shape as well. But these things were delays. They had delays, they had modelers in them, and then they also had a looper on them, echoes, all sorts of cool stuff. This was like the pedal to have in 2004, man. Like, it's fantastic. I love this pedal. This was one of the first pedals I ever bought was a DL4. I have my personal own one, so. But I know this will find a home and somebody will absolutely love it. So, yeah. I'm thinking this is what we're going with, but if you got a better idea, let me know. So. Hope everybody's had a great time. I had a blast as always. Love hanging out with you guys. Love working and chilling out with people and chatting and usually drinking, but not today. If you got any questions, hit me up. If you haven't liked us, please like us. If you haven't shared us, please share us. Goes a long, long way. Grab that merch. Rep our brand if you don't mind. We can keep this ball rolling. We can keep this stream going. It's a blast. So. Hope to hear from you guys soon. Hope everybody's healthy and happy, and you guys have a wonderful weekend. Take care.